Another really short point that probably isn't significant, and everyone else will probably pass it off as a complete and total insignificance and coincidence. But apparently, if you do know much about plants and herbs, and that there are different species of them when you do find them, there are apparently 6 different species of mandrake. And it is distributed throughout southern Europe, the Middle East, and Northern Africa, which I guess you could include, Alexandria and Egypt really in Northern Africa. The most well-known species are Mandragora officinarium. So it's just very, 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 again, unusual that when you're looking at the Sphinx, and when I was talking about, Mandragora and Mandrake and the roots found under the ground, it's interesting that the Sphinx's claws actually go under the ground, and almost like, if you're stood there, it would almost be kind of like, that they might be like giant mandrake roots. So I was going to count the claws on them. There isn't 3 on each. There's 4 claws on each of the Sphinxes. I wonder if Howard Crowers thinks that they're almost like the Karnak stones, aligned up, the alignments across the front of the Sphinx. Oh yeah, they are about the size of a person. Each of the claws under the ground. Or it could be like a cylindrical kind of, coffin shape. Literally, when you get clawed, you end up screaming. The word catacombs, pulling the roots up and raking the roots. I wonder if there is something in that as one of the... It is one of the kind of mystical plants that's recognised that had some sort of use in ritual. I think that it's... Mandrake is one of the ones that's related to Datura and the Selenica species that are closely related to, I think tomatoes actually in that species. It's just another interesting point that that plant is native to that area. You can find it in North Africa, the roots go under the ground, and apparently they say that when you pull the root out, there's a scream, and you've got to tie it to a dog. You got to tie it to a dog and get a dog to pull it out. Isn't the Sphinx like a giant creature, dog-like, cat-like creature? Catacombs. Is the dog going to pull it out, rake it out with its claws or what? See, I told you there was a connection to combing and catacombs. The cat's combing. Maybe something like, the mandrake, the terrible, the weird, freaky kind of dream hallucinations that you have, which must be kind of similar to the Amanic Muscaria ones in some way. There's a connection to that story about the mandrake plant and getting a dog to pull it out of the ground. And, both dogs and cats claw the ground and scrape the ground, although clawing is usually attributed to cats. But there is something in that, and the whole connection with, the whole Sphinx, halo, sun, mystical experience. It's worth mentioning anyway. Like, I thought I'd mention that it's kind of like a random, another thing that I thought I'd throw in there. But what I kind of just, the part of the cat that you can't see, the roots or the claws. But actually, the claws don't have to be under the ground. The claws actually can, they can be pushed into. You could push them into the ground itself, almost like planting. It's almost like whether or not the Sphinx is, digging. Like literally on a whim, it just like literally, ejects out its claws, and it's literally, making some pod graves to drop all the labourers in. But apparently, they all had very, very decent graves, and apparently they were treated quite well, according to the archaeology, all the workers who made the pyramids. Obviously not as much as the pharaohs, but that's interesting.